So I'm going to be talking about Toy Story 2. No, Toy Story 4. It's they now have 4 of them. And this is carrot chai, which I've made. It's maybe about a third carrot juice, and I put first I heated the almond milk with a chai tea bag, and then I added the carrot and just heated it at last. So anyway, let's see how it is. It's yum. It's really yum. So I made the almond milk tea really strong, and I didn't add any honey or anything because I figured the carrot juice would be sweet enough. So first I'll mention breakfast. Now before this I had a glass of yellow bell pepper juice while I was cooking all this for the dogs, actually, but I figured I'll ask James if he wants one, so if he shows up. Otherwise it'll just be for the dogs. And I mean, this isn't healthy at all. I keep this around to use for making whitefly traps. And I'm thankful for it when the food bank gives it to me, because it's very useful for whitefly traps. They love the stuff. Now, but it would be better to have, if you're going to have pancakes, it'd be better to have with grade B maple syrup, because that's not maple syrup at all. You know, that's corn syrup and stuff. Anyway, so that's why I brought it out, so that I can talk about it, how that's not healthy at all. It's good for whitefly traps though, very useful. So Kodiak cakes. I've talked about this before. Whole grain wheat flour, whole grain oat flour, Power Cakes protein blend, which is wheat protein isolate, whey protein concentrate, milk protein, and then some other things. But anyway, it says that it has 14 grams of protein per half cup. Is that right? But I wonder how, like, if that's complete protein, because there's a lot of the whole grain wheat flour and stuff like that, and then there is whey protein, but that's not it's actually not healthy for a person. So anyway, but a lot of people go for it because it actually tastes quite palatable. So when people make their smoothies for the first time, they go for the whey because it tastes like a milkshake. Anyway, eventually I got into hemp protein powder more and brown rice protein powder. But honestly, the best protein source that I've found, the healthiest protein source, is kale, juiced. There's so much protein in a kale juice, so that's the way to go. There's some other juices that have a lot of protein too, and you can look those up. Anyway, so this can be made with, there's options for making it with even more protein by adding milk or adding egg. But the thing is yes, whole grain wheat flour, which is nice to see that it's, because I have pointed out breads and stuff that are just made with flour as their ingredient, and I don't know where that flour comes from. So this is certainly superior to anything where you see flour as their ingredient, because what is that? Is that pulp mill sawdust flour, or what? Where did that flour come from? I don't know. Is it grain at all? Maybe not, right? So anyway, now the thing to keep in mind with this is it is not organic, and Roundup was used as a seed desiccant, and I believe still is. I would have to look into it, for all sorts of seeds. So if you're not getting organic, you are literally eating Roundup. Because it wouldn't be washed off before it's turned into flour. Why would it? Why would they care? You're going to buy it anyway. And even if they did wash it, like I've sprouted a lot of seeds, and I can't always afford to get organic stuff because a lot of our food comes from the food bank, and I'm thankful for it. So when we get beans or lentils or something and it's not organic, I'll still sprout them, and it goes through, like with the sprouting process, I do it in the colander with a tea towel, and I keep it in the sink, and I keep rinsing a couple times a day until they're sprouted to my liking. And so they're certainly getting washed off a lot, but is the Roundup right in the lentil or whatever itself? Even if it was not grown while being sprayed, or if it's not a GMO crop which was Roundup ready, even if whatever product I got was not that, then it might have been doused with a Roundup to dry out the seed. So in that case, was that absorbed into the product, the food product itself? In which case, it's going to kill my probiotic bacteria and stuff in my gut while I eat it and cause cancer. So that's always something to keep in mind. So I've read a lot of books where the authors, and usually they're medical doctors, but not always. Sometimes they're health consultants or such. I don't know, they give themselves all sorts of creative titles. And they would not say that this is a very healthy breakfast because it's almond milk. There's no protein in that really, and there's not a lot in the carrot juice, honestly. But I would rather have this as a breakfast than that, even though there's not a lot of protein here. And I could make that up a little later or whatever in the day. But the thing is I live in Canada, and I find it hard to, like right now, I look rectangular because I am wearing a sweater and my pajamas and everything underneath this costume, because otherwise I would be too cold out here. And I keep my house cool because one, I try to be energy efficient, but mostly I'm poor, and I don't like to try to pretend like make a virtue out of a necessity sort of thing. I think a lot of people do that, especially with diet choices. It's very popular right now to become vegan. It could certainly be a lot cheaper, and a lot of people are having some economic issues, and they might want to make like it's they're doing some sort of environmental thing, when really it's just that they're not that well off. And so anyway, but people do that about all sorts of things. It's not just diet, but still with diet it's very important, because you have to be conscious of your health when you're eating different things. And it's not good to fool yourself about things. I was raised vegetarian. We were poor. So it was because we were poor that we were vegetarian, for the most part. Now, my parents might have had some spiritual issues that I don't know why they decided to raise us vegetarian exactly, but I would guess poor. So anyway, and I went back to vegetarianism. I tried eating meat for a year or so when I was a teen. Did not like it, and it wasn't making me healthier because I didn't know anything about what I was doing with my diet back then. So I was just eating whatever my teenage friends were eating. So total junk. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is it might not be healthier to eat a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, depending on what you're having. Now, I mean, this is a vegetarian meal. This here, what I'm having is vegan, but anyway, it's not really a meal. It's a nice warm beverage because I'm in Canada, and it's tough to drink smoothies for breakfast. Or I have the juices, but that's just quick and over with quick. But I do like to have something to warm up every now and then. Carrot chai, very nice. And I've found some nice recipes lately for beet hot chocolate and stuff like that, which sweet enough for me, just without the sweetening. But James, he has a sweet tooth and not sweet enough for him. But anyway, so if I were eating some sort of, maybe wild Pacific salmon's not a good idea since meltdown Japan. But anyway, if I was eating some sort of healthy cold water fish that was somehow captured somewhere where there weren't toxins loaded up in its body, then perhaps that would be a more sensible breakfast than this. Right? So anyway, now I suppose that's enough of that. And I'm hoping that James does not want to eat the pancake, but I'll give him the option. Because I've been making him drink a lot of gross juices lately, and frankly, he's just not keeping up. So I'll produce the juice, and then he won't drink. So give him a little treat choice, and if he says yes, well, that's okay. If he says no, I'll be happy and give him a gross juice. He'll drink it. Anyway, so Toy Story 4. James loved it. His comment was, since he's not here yet, I'll just give it. He said they should use the voice transplant for Tom Hanks and just produce a Toy Story movie like all the time, so they have loads of them. They're putting them out every month because he'd watch them, because he loves the Toy Story stuff, and I do too. They really put a lot of thought into what would interest a child. Like James points things out, he's like, oh, a child's eye view of whatever, right? And a lot of people making children's stuff might miss that, but they don't with the Toy Story. They get it right. And the characters are lovable and attractive. And I don't know if I like the ending. Romantic, but it kind of wraps things up, doesn't it? Honestly, I don't want to see it wrapped up because I love it. So we'll see. Maybe it won't wrap up. I hope. Because I really enjoy Toy Story. It's very good.